This is not a request. You will enjoy this content. This is not a request.
Alright, so this may look like the same exact Sketchpad as last episode, but don't worry, I had two of the same ones. You're gonna see that a lot throughout the series. Jeez Louise. I gotta tell you a story before we start this episode. I remember one time I noted that, like, hey, some Sketchpads are weirdly differently priced, even if they have the same amount of pages. Now I know that's kind of because, like, they have, you know, it's not just the number of pages, it's also the type of pages and the quality of them. And one time I made a TikTok about it a couple of years ago, and one guy got really mad at me and said, well, obviously it's because of this reason. If you didn't know that, you're not a real artist. And I'm just like, okay. And for some reason that stuck with me. Anyway. So, for those who don't know, a while back I made a cartoon called Luigi Gets a Big Surprise. And this is an earliest drawing of him. He's actually based on my sister's Chihuahua that she used to have back in like the late 2000s and early 2010s. My sister had this pet Chihuahua named Luigi. No, she wasn't really a fan of Mario. I don't know why she named him Luigi. You'd think that'd be the reason why. But we decided to call him Luigi. I guess Mina was just being a little silly. This is a drawing of his favorite toy, Bobo. I actually got my dog, Nightmare Bobo, but she doesn't like to play with her toys for some reason. Whenever she wants to play, it's always, you gotta do this with your hands. You know? She never wants to play with a toy unless you have a toy in your hand and you're doing this. It's the only way she will somewhat play with a toy. I don't know why that is. But anyway, as you can see, I was trying to go for something like Courage Cowardly Dog. As the years went on, I just based it more like on Ren and Stimpy and such. Let's see. Alice Darkson Chibi, that says. So I guess these are Chibi versions of old version of Alice and pre-Zen Vasquez. And I don't know who this is. This character here, who looks like she's got Danny Phantom hair. I have no idea who this character is. She's got striped stockings. She looks very seen. She's got a hoodie. No idea who this is. She's got a crazy look in her face. Don't know who the hell that is. Tell you what, don't even know what the hell that thing is. That there is just a glob of nonsense. Oh, look at that. It's adorable. A teddy bear with a sword and a shield. And it's got a star on his tummy. Ain't he cute? This is the point in time when I was thinking of more ideas for stories and whatnot. Including this one. Who gave the emo kid the big fucking sword? I can't believe this idea came this long ago. This is like 2017. I was gonna make a story involving an emo kid, drawn in like an emo style. I'd probably do something a little different from here. And somehow he got mixed with like this sort of symbiote-like creature that would form into a sword. And it would be called Gregory. And they would essentially have to go on adventures fighting different kinds of entities. I'm not exactly sure what exactly they would face. The story and idea was never developed. He was modeled off of how I used to dress when I was a kid. When I was in like 2011, I had a shirt that was like this, and it used to be my favorite shirt. Even if I had it now, I miss it dearly, but even if I had it now, it wouldn't be able to fit me. For one, I got taller, and I'm chunkier. I'm a chunky mumpky. As for what this is, I don't know. They're little gloves, and they got numbers by them for some reason. They're all really expressive. I don't know. We may never know. These are meant to be more characters for that Zorox, should I say. My bad. So this guy's meant to be a play on another character I had. So back in my Kingdom Hearts fanfiction days, I made myself a nobody. His name was Zax. And I'm guessing this is meant to be a modern evolution of him. I did actually make, not too long ago, a new design as to what that would be like. I went back to his old name because it just felt right. And as for, what the fuck? And as for Unstabler, not sure exactly what he is. I do like he is like an outline. I'm not sure what that's supposed to signify though. Maybe he's made of energy? Who knows? Dr. Fahrenheit. Oh yes, he's like a kooky scientist, and it's ice based. Ice and fire maybe? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Anyway, this was me trying to draw like my old Sonic OC that I made when I was a little kid. For some reason, I was really into drawing some of my older characters again, which I'm kind of doing again. But now, like, I'm drawing a lot of the characters I made from this time, which is very ironic. Can't wait till like 5 to 10 years from now, when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna redraw my old characters again. Oh, Alice. Yeah, speaking of which, here's like another interpretation of Hey. She had really big cartoon eyes for some reason. I didn't understand the rule of like, okay, so here's how I go about drawing legs. You know, go from the bottom of like their torso up to the top of their head. That's their leg length. I didn't really understand that here. I've learned though. I've learned. Yeah, she's wearing a mask. This is before the thing that shall not be named. This was 2017. Get your mind out of the gutter. As for this is Crunchy Core. He was a hypothetical cereal mascot I was going to make for a horror short, which I think I already made that horror short, and would you friggin' move? It was very generic. The whole twist is, oh no, they were killing kids and putting them in the cereal. Real fucking interesting, Zach. Where'd you come up with that one? This guy, different versions of him, he was going to appear inside an early version of Alice Darkson as like an intro character, and these are multiple different versions of the same dude. In the end, I went for this guy in the I can't move this guy. But as you can see, I made other versions, some of them are more stylized. The idea is he's meant to be a drunk, a belligerent drunk, and he's mad at Alice, who was originally going to be the Queen of Gotham. I changed that because, actually, I can't remember why. Here's another version of how I used to interpret myself. This is when I was starting to experiment with more cartoony styles. Speaking of which, one of the reasons was because of Oni Plays It. Would you look at that? It's Chris and Ding Dong. I don't know what Chris is doing on Ding Dong's back. It's not what you think it is. I never drew that kind of stuff. There's a surfer dude down here. I was going to use this for a horror short that was going to be like a hypothetical, like, Google from another dimension where things just went fucked up. There was a creepypasta that had the idea, and it's one of my favorites. Here's another version of Alice Darkson. Here I think I was trying to push the thickness a little more, but obviously I was not willing to go to the extent I do now. Let me give you a secret. I was a prude back then. At this point in time, I was a prude who was like, oh, anyone who draws like big tits, just they're talentless. I don't know why I was like that. I was even mad at like 2B from Nier Automata for some fucking reason, but I think that was because I just didn't like Hideki Kamiya. Nowadays, I don't care. I love drawing tits and big old fucking thick thighs and shit. It's who I am. Don't lie to yourself, little me. These are just a bunch of kooky characters. This is someone's skin from their face, because I see like it's all stretched out. They're crying because they're in pain, and they're all nailed onto a wall. And for some reason they're saying, oops. I don't know why. Why would they have the oops for? You literally can't do anything. You're just a face. What, did you drool on the floor? Speaking of face, there's just a weird face here. There's a crazy little character. He's got multiple faces. There's a monster who splits himself in half. There's I think a ghost girl with like a sensor look on her face. There's a video game character. Oh yeah, I was thinking of ideas on like horror series I wanted to do. These were just multiple different concepts for different kinds of horror shows I wanted to do back then. One was going to be a video game based one. Not sure what this guy would have been for. Maybe a video game thing. These two, I'm not sure. But yeah, I was trying to essentially develop my own horror series at that point. Didn't really work out, obviously. This is, of course, before like mascot horror became oversaturated. So this is when I was jumping on the idea of like, hey, why would I do the whole like thing from your childhood and turn it creepy, until it got completely ruined and like oversaturated with stuff like Gart and a Ban and shit. There's more for that. There's gonna be a mascot character who would just transform into that. Another interpretation of me. There's some anatomy, I guess. Oh yeah, I used this guy for a few thumbnails, because this was an older version of me. I was trying to go for more like a kooky cartoon style. You know, he's not drawn badly. I would say he's actually drawn pretty well, you know, all things considered. This is the point when my art becomes less bad. Well, at least slowly towards that direction. And I would actually complete pieces too. Well, I wouldn't. Now I do. Hush. This was me trying to redesign an old my very first character, I think. This guy is King Two-Ply. As you can tell, he's a giant roll of toilet paper. And he's actually my very first character I made. And this is a drawing I made to redesign him and kind of bring him back. Wasn't not too happy with this one, but I was thinking, I actually had the idea of writing a kid's book that would star him. Since, you know, like, he's kind of meant to be kind of based on, like, Captain Underpants in some ways. And I loved Captain Underpants as a kid, and considering little kid me drew this character, I obviously liked him enough to create him. I figured, like, who knows, maybe kids today might like him. If that day ever does come, if I ever do decide to make a children's book, it would probably be about this guy. I don't know why I decided to draw my sister's dog again. I don't know what that thing is on his head. D-I-V? I have no idea. I mean, I know what Div is, it's a character of mine, but I don't know why the two were mixed. Couldn't tell ya. This right here, 2008 to 2018, I can't tell whether or not this was celebrating my 10-year anniversary that was just coming up, or this was an idea for, like, the platform fighter I wanted to make. Seemed like it was the platform fighter I wanted to make. Yeah, it seems like that's what I was trying to do, trying to create that. There's Turbo and the drunk version of Turbo for the Red Room and Red Rum series. Now it's Screaming Skeletons. There's Div, there's Crunchus Demania, there's that creepypasta version of me I made back in like 2013. It was a shitty little video called 103.avi. There's the very, like, this is when I finally started drawing Tug and all of his friends as cartoons instead of just the objects. This is supposed to be Evil Blake, there's Magi, Nat's Banana, and this was a traffic cone character. I still have the traffic cone. He's in storage right now, though. He was gonna be like a parody of gangs, and his name is gonna be a Little Abortion. But I decided to change his name to Little Dirty because, you know, unfortunately, YouTube might not like his current name, his older name, should I say? Now this is me trying to draw King Two-Ply again. 2004? I'm assuming that's when I made him. I can't say. I was 6 around that point in time. This is me going over some old stuff from my childhood. When I was a little kid, I made a group of characters called Mexican Jumping Beans. I'm not sure if that would be considered offensive. I hope not, because, you know, little kid me drawing that, that's excusable, but at this point in time, I was 21. That's a much less excusable. But then again, I was just drawing these guys, sort of like bringing them back. It's like modern interpretations. This is when I was starting to have more fun with expressions. Spaghetti and Meatball, and that was also tagged with King Two-Ply and the Power Pill. Little kid me didn't know that pills would be associated with drugs, so I thought of the idea of, like, what if pills gave you superpowers? It's like, let's kind of do, I guess. This was another redraw of an old character. I tried to create this superhero that was just blatantly Danny Phantom without the ghost element. And it was called Ultra Z. And his idea is that he would get powers from these orbs called Power Orbs. And they were sort of like my version of the Chaos Emeralds. As you can tell, each one would have a different aspect. There's a music one, there's a water one, let's see, electric. And gathering all of them, he would kind of go into his own super form. So then this is like 21-year-old me redesigning this character. The design wasn't changed. I think I just tried to apply him into my current style, since I recognized that I was taking inspiration from, like, Butch Hartman and stuff. Speaking of, like, inspirations, I tried to draw Ari from League of Legends in my own style. I'm not really proud of this piece. I feel like I could have done a lot better. I tried to give her the big cartoon eyes, as that's what I was doing a lot at that point in time, but that's not what I don't like about it. I think her head area looks good. I think it's just the rest I feel as if needs work. I would learn how to draw tails thanks to Wave. Anyway, this is Alice after a workout, and I don't know who this is. this is a character I was going to make for Alice Darkson, I think. It was going to be centered around video games. And that's all of his powers were going to be. You can kind of see that here. He has a D-pad on one of his gloves, AB buttons on his other. He has USB cables for legs, and he's kind of based on, like, you know those, what are they called, the little minions from League of Legends? The first ones that would come out. Yeah. Nito Bazito. Anyway, what is this? What is this? Oh, jeez. I have no idea what this is. I do kind of like him, though. This is a point in time when I was experimenting more with, like, making angular-looking smoke. I think I went a little too far with it. I think there's a little... It could have been simpler. Arms only come out when needed. That explains why he has only one. I was trying, obviously, to make a creepy design. I'm not sure what I was trying to do here, though. So... This was most likely for a video, but I can't remember which one. So I was not expecting this. I was not expecting this to show up. What the fuck is this? Fuck me, please. What is this for? Was this for a video I was making? Like a horror short? There is one I was making around that point in time. I can't remember the name of it. Maybe it was for that. God damn. That's an Action Man throwing an action punch and some dinosaur looking thing. I was trying to make an alien kind of creature who was whale based. He was like a T-Rex mixed with a whale. His name is Tyrannus. And I feel like I think that might be a drawing of him. I would definitely do his design better. I don't really like it. That's a better version. There's a better version of Tyrannus. And there's a random cartoon character. I've always wanted to do a series centered in a cartoon world where it's like a place where cartoon characters go after their show gets canceled. So there'll be characters of multiple different styles. And this guy was going to be like the modern cartoon character. So this was 2010, so at that point in time, the modern art style was the Bean Mouth style. So, yeah, he was going to be the main character. Nowadays, yeah, he doesn't look like much. He just looks kind of boring. Duck, don't know what that's for, it's just a duck and some character. That might be an early version of... I don't think so. I didn't make Kai until 2019. That can't be Kai. She didn't exist yet. And that's the end of this one. I'm feeling much better about these now. You know, just, I had to go through the newer ones, newer-ish ones, I should say. These are still kind of old. Anyway, I hope you've been enjoying the series. I've been having a blast recording these. My back hurts because I've been sitting all day. Oh my god. Lordy, I hope you've been enjoying the series. And if you are, well, good for you. Anyway, connection will be strange.